All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tagout Podcast. My name is AJ East Coast, and I am your host.
And it's me, it's Jeremy AT. Hey, Tagout crew, what's going on?
Tagout crew, we have a special show for you tonight. We are being joined by the Meadowlands Monster. He comes in at 7 foot tall, holy shit, 310 pounds, dear Lord, and he is the Magic Pro Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. How you doing tonight, man?
Thank you for having me, guys.
Well, please don't murder us during this stream. If that's, I'm just playing, man. We've been talking to Mr. Bruno before stream. One of the nicest wrestlers that we've sat down with so far, and we're really excited to get this on the way. Jeremy, you want to update us a little bit on any news this week before we get started with Bruno?
Not much going on, guys. Just a little rumor and innuendo. They're going to be finalizing plans for WrestleMania, so I believe tickets will be going on sale sooner than we think. I think they're kind of getting that solidified a little bit. And not much on the WWE side. Our Royal Rumble winners have not yet made their decisions, but I think they're imminent. And then for AEW, we got a exploding barbed wire death match.
Exploding barbed wire death. Bruno, how do you feel about that, Bruno? Could you elaborate on maybe what a exploding death match of barbed wire is?
Two guys really leaving it all out there for everyone and not caring for their well-being.
Yeah.
Should be a good show. I wouldn't sign up for it, but yeah, I know of the exploding barbed wire match from a lot of Japan stuff, so should be interesting, man.
It should be pretty dope. And shout out to Eric47 coming by. He says awesomeness. He says hype for the chat. If you have any champions or any questions for our world champion, please type them into the chat, and that goes along with anyone else that comes in through the show, and we'll do our best to get to them and answer them. But also, we have an update from last week. We acknowledged that WWE had not yet said anything about Nia Jax saying "my hole" on television.
Oh, thank God.
Not until this Wednesday, however, Miss Raquel Gonzalez yelled out to Nia while I was at NXT, and it was one of the greatest things I've ever heard. And she goes, "Hey Nia, I'm gonna take those tag team or she said, "I'm gonna take my boot and shove it so far up your hole."
Jesus Christ.
They acknowledged it. And the pop you heard from that on television, that wasn't their fake audio, man. That was us in the room. We all were, yes, yeah, we lost our mind, dude. It was so funny.
God, 20 of you in there in the CWC, and you guys were that loud.
Yeah, we were losing it. It was hysterical.
Wow. Sounds like an indie show, man. Sounds like an indie show.
That is awesome.
Well,
I thought that was a feed-in from watching it. I was like, oh man, but that was you guys. That's cool.
Well, speaking, just like an indie show, tell us what that's like, Bruno. This year, the coronavirus obviously has impacted all of us in many different ways. How has it affected you as an indie professional wrestler?
I've been grateful for everything that's happened in a sense because, number one, I'm a truck driver, so I never stopped. I was never really quarantined. I was always on the road every day working. And then, luckily, I had other avenues of knowing people like, I don't know if you've heard of Grimm's Toy Show. I was able to set up, title defenses there at his property. He has a ring in his backyard. He has a show on YouTube with millions of followers. It's ridiculous. But I was still able to keep up with things. I never was stagnant. I was always moving. I was always working out some way, if it was, I had to stop waiting to be unloaded or finishing work, going to a friend of mine has a gym or something like that. I always kept up as much as I could. So I can't sit here and say, it hurts so much. It hurt wrestling as a whole, but luckily it didn't affect me that much.
Well, that's good to hear, man, because me and Jeremy, we've had people on here that, that's just not the case for them on their side, and it's good to see that you've been able to come out positively through that. And you mentioned that you're able to work out at whenever you had the chance. What were some obscure things were you lifting? Like 2x4s on the side of the road or anything like that?
Sometimes I have to unload freight from my truck, and the pallets are up to like 1,200 pounds a pallet. It's frozen foods and stuff like that. So it's kind of a workout when you got to pull out 28 of those by hand with a pallet jack, because they don't give you electric jack or anything. So it's pump, 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 and then muscle it out. So I mean, I may not have the best physique in wrestling, and I understand wrestling's a lot about that. But I'm a different breed of person. I think I've had a lot of manual labor jobs my whole life. I'm 36 years old, so I've been around. So the strength that I have is that ridiculous dad strength.
Ridiculous dad strength. I love it.
That's awesome. You said Grimm's Toy channel. I follow him on YouTube. Very great guy. He's been around quite a bit. How did he come into contact with you? Did he just, or did you get in contact with him somehow?
So I've been wrestling for 4 years, and my first year, coming out of my first year, I had a few friends of mine that were actually working on his show. That's where I met Casey Navarro, TJ Crawford, a few of the guys that have come out of there. But I met them when they were like starting off and like just using Grims as a platform to get themselves out there. I was horrible, you know what I mean? I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I'm tall and they used me the best they could. So they brought me in. My friend, the guys that I knew, they said, hey, why don't you come up and talk to Grim? And I did. And ever since then, me and Grim have been, really good friends. I've always supported his work. I've always supported what he's done with what he gives to kids. A lot of people forget that, his channel's for children, basically. It's not for the smart mark, you know what I'm saying? Because people are going to watch his show and be like, this is garbage. But they're not understanding that he's making money giving a show to kids that they enjoy. It doesn't matter what, 48-year-old Joe Schmo thinks about the channel, but he's got millions of people watching his stuff, so he's doing something right. But Grim's an amazing person.
Yeah, because every time he goes to like a show, all the kids come up to him like, "Oh my God,
Yeah, man.
You're great."
Yeah, he draws more fans than I do. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad at that. I mean, he's doing something right. He's doing what we all would want. I think it's just a lot of hating out there in the wrestling world. So, I applaud what he does, man.
Going into that, do you think it's hard to get exposure in the wrestling business, given even with social media today?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I feel like if you got something, you'll get noticed and you're skyrocket. You know what I mean? But like, if you're a guy like me, that I'm not really. I don't have the ability to like be at every show, even if I'm not booked. I don't have the ability to, do a lot of the things that most guys can do. I have a full-time job where, I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving 15 hours a day. Then I got to come home. I got to make sure my kids are okay. I got to help my wife out.
Mm-hmm.
I got to make sure that, I'm pulling my own weight and not just, I'm not a 21-year-old, living with mommy and daddy.
Right,
I'm a grown man. I got a life. So it's really hard for me to juggle everything, man. I want to be a wrestler. I want to get signed. I want opportunities, but I can't forget, the people I need to take care of. So,
the responsibility of being a husband and a
absolutely,
father,
absolutely.
How impactful can it be, for you on the road, being, you mentioned you're a trucker, and not only that, you're doing, going to different shows and things like that. How impactful is it, being away from your family like that and your children and your wife? It must be, very tough.
Yeah, going into everything, I try to make sure that my wife understood that, there's going to be times that I gotta go somewhere. I gotta go to Florida. I gotta go to California. I gotta go to Texas. I mean, I don't want to say luckily, because I mean, it's what I want to do. I want to get booked out there and travel and get my stuff to the people. But I haven't been booked like that. So like, I'm lucky enough that, I can work all week. I can work out, and then my shows are an hour away from me tops. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm back home every day. I did have to go to Nashville. I did go to Florida once, but they understand that in the long run, hopefully, this works out to the point where, you know, we're set for life, and that's all I want to do. I just want to make sure that I'm okay. I'm not struggling and, you know, worried about how am I going to pay my bills or, you know, what's next.
Well,
So
with a physique like yours, we know in our industry it draws. We can name so many big men, obviously from Andre to Kane to who's the current big man, I guess, Braun and Osmos or whatever his name is. That has always been a draw, and I can imagine that here sooner or later it's going to happen, because that is one of your biggest advantages that you have over other people, is that when people hear 7 foot tall, they turn their heads and they look,
Right.
So
right, and I'm trying to not kind of like, I'm tall, but I don't want people to come in looking at me like Frankenstein.
Right.
Some of the things I can do, a big guy like me really shouldn't be doing, and I understand that. But I'm trying to break that mold. Like if I can do things off the top rope, and I can jump over the top rope, and I can do suicide dives and at 7 feet tall, I'm gonna try and pull it out when I can to just show people that I'm not just your typical big chop, choke slam, and it's over. You know what I mean? I just did the old school the other day. I did the old school, and I turned it into a blockbuster off the top rope. Not guys. You can't. Eddie Guerrero's flipping over the outside onto the guy and rolling out of it. I did that the other day perfectly. I shouldn't be able to do these things, but
God bless you can.
I'm grateful that I'm athletic to the point where my knees aren't bad. A lot of big guys, their legs kind of turn inward, their knees. You know what I mean? They're bow-legged, or they have problems with their legs. Their lower half doesn't really work to the point of the momentum and the movements that I can do. I can wrestle with a small guy and look just like a small guy. So I'm trying to break that typical big man thing. I'm not trying to be a Frankenstein. I can do a lot more.
Well, it's great to see that you're able to like you said, break the mold and able to, recognize that you have to be different, that you have to be something else other than like, Braun Strowman or something like that. And in lieu of that, Eric 47, he says, what is your finishing move and how did it come about?
Good story about that. So a lot of people forget that Pest was a big man and one of, I think, most talented big men. He was awesome. I loved everything about Test. Rest his soul. But he did a pump handle into a power slam. Picking a finishing move, I didn't want to have something, that everybody did. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see anybody doing that. I didn't see anybody doing the pump handle power slam, and I do a little spin to it. So it kind of like adds a little flair to it. I call it the Fester Bomb. A good friend of mine, since I started wrestling, about 3 years into me wrestling on WrestleMania, he committed suicide. And he was a big driving force in everything that I did with wrestling. He was like the one friend that I had that, I spoke to him every day. He was always there at my matches. He literally came to every one of my matches for 3 years. And that day kind of stuck really hard in my heart because like it was WrestleMania. I remember it like clear as day. We were at a party and then I got the phone call and I just wanted to keep him in my career somehow, and I felt like giving him the title and my finisher was, I think, a good thing for me to do. So, pump handle power slam.
Pump handle power slam. Wow, what a story, man! I'm very sorry to hear that about your friend, and and
it sucks. Mental health is really important.
Right.
Really
this is a guy I knew for a long time, and not to really veer off. I grew up in Union City, New Jersey. It's a pretty rough area, and he was a gang member, and I knew that and but I've known him before for forever. You know what I mean? So
right.
I didn't judge him. I didn't judge him by that. I don't know anything else other than the fact that he was a gang member. But he was a really great guy. He always took care of me if I needed help. I always took care of him if he needed help, somebody to talk to. We were always there for each other. So when all that went down, man, it hurt. It hurt a lot because we had plans together. We kept telling each other, hey, you know, he was starting a podcast interviewing rap artists, and I was doing the wrestling thing. And we always said, we're going to meet up at the end of this journey and have a beer. You know what I mean? And then we're going to look back and be like, look what we've made of ourselves. Look what we did. So it just gives me more fuel to keep pushing through everything to get to where I knew that we were both going to be at some point.
Well, sorry for your loss, my friend. It's pretty hard losing a lot of
it
friends.
is. It is. But it's something you carry with you, and you use it, and you don't let it. You don't let it. Eat you alive inside. We all have our own issues. We all have our own problems. Me, myself, I have a lot of anxiety issues, depression. I've been struggling. So it's hard to juggle everything, but you got to do the best you can to keep going forward.
Well,
Is there any mechanisms that you use to get over those anxieties? Is wrestling like a remedy for it, or do you have like any other remedies to overcome that anxiety or mental?
Wrestling was, coming into it, I didn't know what to expect. I'm a big guy, and like learning how to fall and learning how to take hits and learning how to do all that stuff. It was scary. It's scary.
Yeah.
Anybody who tries it for the first time, you fall, you feel that wood on your back, and you kind of like check your whole life at that moment, and you're like, is this really what I want to do?
Well, no pun intended. Is it true that the bigger you are, the harder they fall? Does that apply here to professional wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a big moment in my life where you look at yourself and you say, what am I going to do? Am I going to quit this, or am I going to keep going? This is what I want to do. I got to get through it, and I did. And now you kind of like throw yourself, and the adrenaline's so high that, man, I've it's a great feeling. It helps me a lot to be able to be in the ring and kind of like use my knowledge of wrestling, I would say. I grew up in that Attitude Era and before, and I remember watching wrestling and being vested in the matches, and you really hated that heel and you really cheered for that good guy, and I just, it feels great. It's that moment in time where everything is just nice. You know what I mean? You're in your happy place. Whether or not I'm getting hit in the head with a chair or not, it's like that zen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Absolutely.
And in regards to your height, so have you always been a tall guy pretty much your whole life? Is there a certain time in your life where it kind of happened? Like, I'm almost 6'3", but I didn't get there till I was almost 18, But my little brother is 6'6", and he was 6'6" at like 13. Was the same case for you?
I was always the big kid, but I was more fat and chunky than anything else. Right around like 6th, 7th grade, I started shooting up. I started, like, you ever have a puppy, when they're little, they're cute as fuck, and then they start growing, and they get in that ugly stage, they're all floppy, and their paws are bigger than their head, you know what I'm saying? So that's basically what was happening to me. I was just shooting up really fast, but by freshman year, I was already 6'5", 6'6" as a freshman.
Wow.
And then I slowly kept going till about college, and gratefully, I'm not growing anymore.
Now, did you participate in any sports growing up in high school and things like that?
Yeah. I was raised in a really strict home. I didn't play a lot of sports as a younger kid. But my freshman year of high school, I decided to play everything. So I played football, basketball, baseball. I did that for freshman, sophomore year. Then I stopped playing football. It wasn't for me. I stuck with baseball and basketball junior year. Then my senior year, I let baseball go, and I just stuck with basketball.
Well, I'm sure the basketball coach shit his pants at that point. He was quite happy.
Yeah. I loved playing sports. I was always athletic. I always played whatever I could. It didn't matter what it was. Football was awesome. I barely played, but I never played. And I come from an area where the kids are playing peewees, and the coaches are scouting them all the way to high school. So, like, I had no chance. I had no football knowledge. I had no skill when it came to football. So I just played it just because it was fun. It was cool to put on pads and hit people. But basketball was my thing, more or less. That's where I get my athleticism from, is my basketball background.
Basketball being the tall man's sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
What college did you go to?
Yeah. I went to Ramapo up in Mahwah, New Jersey. It's a small school. It's not a big Division I or anything like that. If I'm not mistaken, they just turned Division II. I went there for 2 years. I got redshirted, and I never went back after my second year. School wasn't really for me. I didn't have the patience to sit in classes all the time and stuff like that. So I did 2 years, and then I was done. I was doing mass communications, TV production. At the time, I wanted to stay within sports, work for ESPN or whatever the case was. But that didn't go. I wanted to wrestle. Before I even went to college, I wanted to wrestle. I asked my father one day after senior year was done, I was going to go to Ramapo, and I told my dad I wanted to wrestle. I didn't want to go to school. I wanted to learn how to wrestle, and him and my mother laughed at me, and you're stupid, you're going to hurt yourself, it's not something you can do. So I started working, and I got trapped with, the Groundhog Day of 9 to 5 type of thing, working every day and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you because I was a college student at one point, and I think I walked out of my math class that one day and never came back to school again, because it's just, it's for some, but it's not for all.
Right.
So you were thinking about being a sportsman. Do you ever think about doing that at times, or is it just strictly wrestling?
Right now, my focus is on wrestling. I've been wanting to start my own podcast / YouTube show type of thing. I have a few ideas that I want to do, but I don't know even the first steps I would need to do to get it rolling. But right now, I'm focusing on wrestling and my job, making sure that I can provide. I'm big on sports radio. I listen to WFAN every day. I'm actually friends with Craig Carton. I've been on live countless times. I've been in studio. I call so much that they invited me into the studio. So I would love to do some radio. I think that would be something that I would probably look into down the road, doing some sports radio. But other than that, just focusing on wrestling, man.
Yeah.
North Carolina, he is safe at home, so...
I'm in that. Sorry, what was that?
Oh, I don't know what that was. Something popped up on...
Oh!
I don't know what... I don't know what that was.
That's thing one about podcasting. You get random stuff that comes up, so that's a little bit
It does happen.
I know AJ and I have been doing this about 30 days already. I think we come up about over 40 days. It's pretty much a pretty decent thing. So going into actually starting your wrestling career, if we can get there, when you first started training, were you intimidated by the other guy? I mean, you being 7 foot tall, but were you intimidated by the rigorous training at all when you first walked in?
No. So I went to a few schools to check them out. I couldn't afford it. The atmosphere seemed a little, if you don't got money, we're not going to even fucking look at you. I understand where they're coming from, but I couldn't afford it. So I kept looking and looking and looking, and then I found ECPW, Gino Caruso. He looked at me and he was just like, Jesus Christ, get in the ring. We'll worry about, pay down the road. He's like, I want to give you an opportunity. So he gave me the opportunity to train. The way I was raised, I can walk into a building and be cocky and be like, I'm 7 feet tall, give me everything. But I don't. I walk into places very, 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 very humble. So going into my first experience, I was marking out. I can't tell you that I wasn't marking out. I wasn't a little child inside being able to touch the ring ropes for the first time in my life, being able to touch what the ring feels like for the first time in my life, I was like a little kid. But there's a kid who went there. His name's John Teller. He was a big guy. He's their big guy. He's almost as tall as me. He's just as strong. We've had some battles, me and John. You can see all of our matches on my YouTube page. But I wasn't intimidated. Being a triathlete, being a sports kid, always having to train and always having to work out and do drills, and I wasn't scared. I was more like hoping I didn't die because I hadn't worked out in so long like that I was just like, damn man, I'm gonna pass out, I'm gonna throw out, like it was my first day of football practice,
Yeah.
But if it's something you love, if it's something you've always loved, if it's something you've wanted to do, like, it's more of excitement. It's more of like, I want to learn. Tell me, what else can I do? Like, and you got to kind of slow down because it's wrestling. You got to really, take your time with it and learn because you can hurt yourself. But I think my first day, I was there early. There was nobody there yet. Gino had just opened up. He was in his office. I got my stuff on. I'm all excited. I'm putting on my pads for the first time. You know what I mean? I bought fucking ring shoes and I put them on. I'm all excited. I get in and I'm like taking it in. I'm like feeling the ropes and I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
Right, because this is finally coming to reality of something that you've, been watching your entire life. I can't imagine what it must have felt like to be able to see that playing out in front of you. That's like, like a baseball player finally walking down the tunnel out to the field. It's, the exact same feeling.
Yep. So me being a jerk, I tried to run off the ropes thinking I knew what I was doing. And the minute I hit the rope, my ass went through the ropes and I caught the rope in the back of my head. And I was just sitting on the middle rope with my head like this with the rope on me. I'm like, maybe I should learn first. Don't jump the gun here, Bruno.
What were some of the first things that they started to have you doing when you started training?
A lot of footwork, running the ropes, drop downs, tying up actually was like the first thing, I want to see how you tie up. So, we did that and it felt very easy, for me in the sense of I've watched wrestling so much that it's like, it's ingrained in my head.
Right. It's a natural.
Who didn't grow up reenacting everything? Who didn't grow up acting like Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, or any of those guys? And I remember wrestling with my friends in gym class, and our gym teacher always yelling at us, stop messing around, you're gonna hurt yourselves.
My mom would yell at me and my little brother, stop doing that shit.
Yeah, absolutely. So like tying up, he had to show me properly how to do it, and then that was it. And then it was just like second nature. And now, out of repetition, it's like you can tie up with somebody. And if that other person knows what they're doing, it's just so easy to do. But yeah, I found a lot of it, the selling aspect of things. Man, I got beat on a daily basis by my mother. Mm-hmm. I'm from a tough Cuban background.
Okay.
You speak out of turn, you're getting a bloody nose. Right. If you disrespect one of your elders, you're getting pushed out of the freaking chair and your ass stomped. And I'm not mad at it. My mom, if it wasn't for my mother, I wouldn't be as tough as I am. I wouldn't be as strong of a person as I am today. That's why it's kind of hard. It's hard now to. I grew up in that era, man. It's like I didn't have cell phones. We had beepers when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like you used to have to go to a payphone and put change in the fucker or 1-800-collect. You know what I mean? Like I played basketball for the first real in the street with a milk crate to the pole. You know what I mean? That's how I learned how to play basketball. By the kids in the street, they were crossing me over, making me fall on the ground. Oh, this little fat kid, he doesn't know how to play ball. You know what I mean? So, I lived a lot of my life growing up in the street, you know what I mean? Playing in the street, falling down and scraping your knee, and then getting up and spitting on it and moving on. You know what I mean? Like
building that tough guy mentality from an early age.
Exactly. Man, I used to get beat, man. If anybody's watching that's Hispanic or Latino, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you were raised military. Like, don't even.
High respect culture.
Even today, my mom will beat the crap. She's probably going to beat the crap out of me if she's watching this now. You know? So, it is what it is, man. That's mom dude. She can do whatever she wants.
Right.
It's kind of like coming from an Asian family. It's kind of similar in that respects too. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Totally understand where you're coming from with that one. Kids don't get it nowadays. They don't.
Nope.
I grew up in a Catholic family. We dealt with the guilt. Still dealing with the guilt.
Exactly.
But
you have no choice but to say yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So
like,
that
I'm a very, like, when I talk to people, you know, it's yes sir, yes ma'am. You know, I'm 36 years old and I'm telling a kid who's younger than me, who, like, you know, if I go do a delivery, you know what I mean, and I pull in, and the guys usually at the desk are younger than me. They're little kids getting their first job, you know. So I'm like, yes sir, you know, thank you sir. And they're like, you don't gotta call me sir. I'm like, it's a sign of respect.
it's just a natural thing, yeah.
And you being military, you know, you would know that's just the way you speak. That's the way you show respect to somebody.
It is, yeah. I have a funny story about that. I had a lieutenant. He went out in town with us because we were in Japan and they were showing us around town. You know, because the train system there is crazy. If you don't know what you're doing, you can end up on the other side of the island. It happens all the time. It's actually kind of funny. But he went out in town and him and his wife came out in town with us and he comes up to us and he goes, oh, so out here, you know, you don't have to call me sir. Like, my name is Travis. You know, you can call me Travis. It's okay. Like, no one's going to be okay, you know. But it was weird because we had just first came out of boot camp. So we were still, you know, like, oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we still continued to do it. And he got mad at us. And from then on, it was just, you know, every pilot that we dealt with, they're such, you know, fraternity bros. They're like, yeah, bro, whatever. But it was always just a sign of respect thing. So I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, man, it's just like, and it's just second nature. Like, no matter if it's professional, you know what I mean? Like, wherever I go, it don't matter where it is. If it's a lady, it's ma'am, you know. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, you know, sir, whatever the case is. It's just a way of respecting that person. You know what I mean? I guess it's a way of, I have a problem with, like, no matter where I go, and I'm not an asshole and I'm not a dick to people, but my height and the way I look,
people are
it's
scared.
Intimidating.
Right.
People are intimidated by me. You know how many jobs I've had and lost because people think I'm gonna like throw them off the top of the building or something? And
yeah.
Like, I don't even say anything. Like,
he's a gentle giant, guys. He's a nice guy.
You know, people tell me, oh, it's because you're big. You gotta really, like, you can't be. I'm 7 feet tall. I'm Cuban. I was raised in a home where you need earplugs. Like, it's loud. It's loud all the time, and that's who I am. So I got to check myself. Like, I don't know if you guys heard of Wrecking Ball Legursky. We were in the locker room the other day, and I'm talking with Saeed, and he comes over to me. He's like, why are you so loud? And I'm like, I'm Cuban, bro. I don't know what to tell you. You come to one of my family parties, you're going to leave within 2 minutes because it's like 10 people yelling at the top of their lungs at one time. And it's just what I grew up in. So it's who I am. I'm sorry.
It's funny because they don't mean to. You know what I mean? When you're Hispanic, you don't mean to talk loud.
Right.
No.
Especially it happens in Polynesian families, too. They don't mean to speak loud, but it's just how they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, so you did mention earlier you do have a family. You have a little boy and a little girl. Is that correct?
I have 2 boys.
2 boys.
And a girl.
2 boys and a girl. Okay. Do they watch you on TV or YouTube or anything like that? And do they know kind of what you do?
In the beginning, they didn't really like wrestling. They were smaller, but now they're starting to kind of like it and get it. And you know, I put matches on for them every now and then. They'll watch it. But my son's always picked the guys I'm fighting against. So.
Always rooting for it.
So, like, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
It's in your face, Daddy. He beat you. Ha ha.
Yeah. So when I wrestled Smiley, my son Jordy, he watched the match, and when Smiley came out with his mask and stuff, and he has the smiley face on his pants, I like Smiley, Daddy. I'm like,
well, what are you gonna do?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. You know, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all. I like it. As long as they're into it. You know what I mean? I don't care. You could be rooting for the other guy. I'm going to be wrestling Saeed next month. The match will be out, and my wife, I showed her. I'm like, hey, this is the guy I'm going to be wrestling. And she's like, oh, I love him, man. I'm rooting for him. I'm like, great, thank you, I appreciate it.
All right.
So whatever. I don't care. Hey, I don't care. It's all part of it, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it adds to it.
If I get and like if I can get her angry that I'm doing things to him in the match, I'm doing my job. You know what I mean?
You're getting the other guy over. That's how it works, I guess.
Yeah, man, absolutely. It doesn't matter to me. You can root for whoever you want, and in the end, I'm coming out victorious. That's just the way it's gonna be.
That's right.
I'm interested. What about your little girl?
Julie's gonna be going to college next year.
Wow. Okay.
She's actually gonna end up going to Ramapo. I'm very excited about that. She told me the other day. So she's going to the school that I went to. So hopefully I can, help her in any way with the campus and stuff like that. It's a great school. That campus is up in the mountains. It's beautiful. It's a state-of-the-art arena that they just built. Like I would think maybe 5 years ago. I want to say maybe, or maybe a little bit more. But I was there when they were building it, and when it opened, it was just a beautiful, beautiful arena. Everything is inside that she needs. And I told her, if her AAU coach is the coach for the college and he wants her to play for him. So I'm like, don't be stupid. Take this opportunity. You're going to play. You're going to start probably. If you want to go to a different school the next year, you can transfer out. But this is a good way for you to start. You know what I mean? And having the backing of your coach, that you can't turn that down, man. That's always key. When you have a coach that wants you and wants to help you and mold you, and that's where she needs to be. So yeah, she's the older one, and then Jordy is 8, Jackson is 7.
Wow, that is awesome. All good,
yeah.
All good kids. It sounds like.
Yeah. Jackson's my me when I was little.
Yeah, spin image.
Doesn't like school. You know what I mean? Always giving little. He's very quiet. So we're trying to break him out of that shell. Talk more in class. You know what I mean? But he's my little problem child. I'll be getting a lot of calls from the principal when school goes back.
Oh.
Well, now a lot of side of the business is acting, and you talked earlier about selling it and being taught to sold and things like. Do you have any theater experience or any kind of stage experience prior to professional wrestling?
Getting my ass beat by my mom on a daily basis. That was all the training I needed.
Just the training, yeah.
That's all the training I needed. No, I didn't really do anything. I did drama in I think it was junior year. No, sophomore year of high school, I did drama. I've done some things that I had to be on stage in front of people. I did a fundraiser once. My family owned a restaurant, and these people came in and did a show in our lounge area, like a burlesque type of thing.
Okay.
And then they were doing a fundraiser to raise some money, and they needed a bunch of guys to do like a burlesque show, like the Full Monty. I don't know if you guys ever seen that movie, The Full Monty.
I don't think so.
It's a bunch of guys. It's a bunch of guys that are just kind of like friends, and they go and do like a striptease.
Okay.
And I did it. So that was like my first experience in front of a crowd of people. I had to stand in front of everybody, and we all took our clothes off and
do the
just stood there
striptease
in a red thong.
Wow.
So that was
good Lord.
That was an experience. Bro. But I just kept telling myself it was for a good cause. It was to raise money. You know what I mean? I probably scared half the people there, but you know what I mean? Yeah. And they had me front and center too. Like I was the freaking guy in the middle, and I'm like, can't we go in the back? Can we go in the back, maybe? Tall guys in the back.
A
No.
little awkward here.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah. It was tasteful. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't doing some grimy, It was tasteful. It was at a bar. You know what I mean? It was for I forget what fundraiser it was for. They were raising money for something. And it was a very
girls club.
definitely not. No, definitely not.
Oh man, 4 years of professional journalism and I finally break character due to the Meadowlands Monster being a stripper.
Yes, sir.
It's not necessarily a stripper. He wasn't
Oh.
a
I wasn't a stripper.
Doing
right?
a strip
So,
tease.
It's gonna get out. You're gonna put this all over social media. No, I did a fundraiser where
Doing
we
strip
did
teasing.
a parody of the Full Monty. Okay, and listen, all right. Maybe I shouldn't have told you guys that, but whatever.
Our listeners, I'm sure they got that image well planted in their head. A 7-foot tall man in a thong.
Yeah, it's scary.
Wow.
Scary. And I don't shave my legs or anything, so yeah, not a good thing.
So is it safe to assume that you usually play the bad guy in the heel?
Yeah, I went into all this trying to do like me. Like I'm me. I could be a good guy, and if you cross me, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm trying not to be labeled as a bad guy or a good guy. I'm me. So right now they stripped me of my title for no reason, and I'm more of a justified heel. They've taken advantage of me. I've been the first one there. I've been setting up their ring by myself. I think the first 2 years I was there, I was showing up first and setting up by myself. I don't know how people think about what the ring is like actually, but it's very heavy. Mm-hmm. It's very, very heavy. And for a while I was putting in my time, by myself. I loved the business so much I didn't care. I just wanted to get the ring up. I didn't want to wait anymore. I didn't want to wait for people to stroll in with their little bags and be superstars. So I took it upon myself to put as much as I am into it. And then, they turned it on me and used me and kind of played me off like a fool. So now they don't like that I'm being Mr. Mean Guy and beating the crap out of their entire roster. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Well, you were the longest reigning Dark Arts champion over 500 days, though, right?
543 days. I defended it against, the likes of John Silver, Josh Briggs. I've defended it against deathmatch legends like Casanova Valentine. You see, the difference between me and anyone else that's going to hold that title is that I didn't cry, I didn't bitch, I didn't moan. You gave me a guy, you gave me an opponent, and I took it. I didn't care who you gave me. I didn't care if it had to be a name or it wasn't a name. I don't care. I was a fighting champion. No matter what it was, they put me in non-stop hardcore matches. It was always me getting hit with chairs and kendo sticks and put through tables, and I came out of everything. Everything they threw in my way, I pushed through it, and the only way they were able to get it off me was by stripping me of the title.
Was it kind of being like the biggest kind of biggest guy in jail kind of moment? They think just because you're this big, strong guy, they got to use you for all these kind of, extreme things, if you will.
I can't explain it. I guess they felt like, hey, he's not complaining and he's not talking, so we'll just keep putting him in these matches. But, after a while, it got to a point where I'm like, dude, you're literally trying to stack the cards on me, and you're literally trying to hurt me when I've been the number one thing in this company. When I tell you I literally do more than anybody in that company, and let anybody say that I'm lying, and then you could prove it to me where I am not. I spend more time there in that building than anywhere else. The Knights of Columbus want me to join them. That's how often I am in that building.
Right.
I take care of their property. Whenever there's a booking of another company and they're using our ring, I'm the one running ring crew. I'm the one there. And none of those other companies help out. None of those other superstars help out. So I don't understand where the loss of translation in paying your dues. I know I'm early in the game myself, but I'm also not a young kid, and I understand what paying your dues means. You're not done paying your dues until you sign that contract, and they tell you, don't touch the ring. You don't have to do ring crew anymore. Mm-hmm. In my head, if I'm going to a show, I'm going to be there. I'm going to help out. I'm going to help you Whatever you need. What do you need? You know, what do you need me to do? You need me to put up a sign? I get asked all the time, hey, can you put up the sign because you're 7 feet tall? No problem.
Can you get this off
No
the top
problem.
shelf?
Can I ask a question, though? Do you think in this new era of young kids that are coming into professional wrestling, these new guys and gals who act like they have a chip on their shoulder and not getting that paying the dues part, do you think that's becoming more of a prevalent problem in the wrestling industry? And do you think it will cause much more damage in the long run?
I feel like, and I'm not, I just want to say this because, you know, nowadays, like, you say anything, people can misconstrue what you're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking crap about anybody. You live your life and you do what you feel is what, you know, if you feel like what you're doing is right, then by all means. Some of these guys that I'm thinking of, and they've done way more in wrestling than I have ever done. So, like, they're obviously doing something right. And I've gotten to the point myself where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't show up and set up and help out. Maybe I should just kind of, you know, feel like, you know, manifest that I'm a superstar and just show up to places like, you know, whatever. But I do feel like it's going to be a problem down the road because you're going to get to a point where if you're not teaching kids, listen, the wrestling ring is where your office is. That's where you're working. That's where you're putting your life on the line. You know, you have every reason to know every ins and outs of the ring. Where there's cracked boards, where the hard spot is on the outside, where, you know, what turnbuckle's loose or which one's not loose or which, like, there's so many things. It's not just putting up the ring. I've touched this ring so much that I can do it blindfolded. I can tell you every in and out of this ring. And I feel like everybody should know that. Why wouldn't you want to know that? Why wouldn't you want to know that that ring is safe? That you can go into your match knowing that ring is safe. Those ropes aren't going to break on me. Those ropes are nice and tight. You know how many times I watch shows that the ropes are freaking sagging and nobody cares and they're still trying to jump off? Like, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, and others.
If anything, you're going to hurt yourself. So why doesn't more people take initiative? Yeah. Why doesn't more people take initiative in teaching that? Like, before you're doing moonsaults and shit, I feel like you should know how to put a ring up.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's
learning,
like
it's learning your real estate. It's knowing your real estate. It's knowing where everything is, and the more you understand that ring, the more off of a better professional wrestler you will be. Definitely.
Absolutely, because now, you know, with how much I've put into that, anywhere I go, I can tell you if your ring's a piece of shit or not.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not getting in that ring. You better tighten those ropes. You know what I mean? Like, you know how many times I get into a ring and the boards are overlapped, and you have to wrestle in that. You know, and the ring is not a smooth surface. It's going like this now.
That's uncomfortable as shit.
I don't.
We're not wrestling on train tracks here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And a big guy like you can't afford to take a saggy rope.
And back to, like, I'm not shitting on anybody. Hey, if this is how you were trained, that's how you were trained. But I feel like, I mean, that's something that I was told coming into wrestling is that you pay your fucking dues, you help out, you show up early, you leave late, you set up and you break down. And then, you know, nobody does it. Nobody. You know what it is? I'm a heavyweight champion. And I'm the last one in the building breaking down the ring.
Well, that just goes to show the character there. But at the same time, it's bullshit because you should have those championship privileges. You should be awarded that, like you said.
But even then, like, this is nothing. In reality, let's talk about it. This is nothing. I'm not in WWE. Mm-hmm. I'm not in AEW. You know what I'm saying? But to me, this is everything. This means everything to me. I never won shit growing up. All the teams I played for, crap. My high school football team was great, but we were always great. But I didn't play, so it wasn't like the same. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I never won anything. This means everything to me, and if that means staying late, getting there early, being a fucking champion, and representing the company that I love and that I will do anything for, That's why I do it. That's why I show up early. Not for recognition. I don't care if people like the fact that I set up the ring alone or I don't set up the ring alone or I don't care about that. My drive is like, okay, I have a match today. I'm going to get there early. I'm going to set up the ring. I'm going to have ample time to stretch out and go over stuff and you know, why wouldn't you do that?
It's
Why?
almost
Why?
yeah. It's a plan. It's like a flight plan because you know if it's anything goes wrong, you can go back and figure out you know where in those lines you went wrong. Like you said, you have plenty of ample time to stretch. I know so many guys go out to the ring, they haven't stretched. The next thing you know, they fucking broke their hamstring or whatever, fucking ripped their pec off. You know, you have to. Yeah. And like you said, if you've wrestled in rings with saggy ropes. A big guy like you can't afford to take the kind of ropes. So if you build the ropes yourself, you know how much pressure you can put on it, and know how much speed and back and forth you're able to bounce off of.
Yep.
And it's awesome to hear that you do that, and still as the champion, and you, I know you say that people.
I'll never stop.
Yeah, and I know you say that you know that people that you're not doing it for recognition, but I know that someone is watching, and I know that they are. That does matter to them because you know they like you are the last guy. You are like the head of the table at that point, if you will.
It's being an example and a locker room leader, and I think that's what every world champion should be. I mean, if we look at you, and I'm not asking questions. I'm just giving you praise because I don't know you. We just met an hour ago, you know. But that's what a real world champion, or even in management and a corporation, should be. You should always be the first one there and the last one to leave. You're a servant leader to the place that you love. And if you have passion for it, you'll do anything. You'll sweep the floors, clean the toilets, whatever the hell it is.
Whatever it is, man. Like,
I just love the passion for it.
Very passionate.
I mean, listen. I've been through it, man. Like I told you, going back to the beginning of our conversation, I've been through it. I've struggled, and I continue to struggle. I'm struggling now, dude. My job is slow. Money is slow. I don't have health insurance. You know, I can't go. I got my tooth knocked out by a kid who didn't know how to throw a working punch in the match. You know what I mean? He caused a lot of damage. He knocked out my tooth, and then this one's cracked inside the gum, and I need to have both removed, and I'm not going to have front teeth anymore.
Oh man!
It's for the love of it. I'm still doing it. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna wish bad on anyone or whatever. But my problem is like the hate that people put on people for no reason. I'm a humble dude. I show up early for a reason because I don't have a shit ton of friends. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a druggie. You know what I mean? For me to be the first one there and set up, it makes me feel good, man. It makes me feel good about myself, like I accomplished something.
Well, it's clear to see that
parting.
parting.
Follow suit. That's on them. It's on them. I'm not gonna push my how I live. I'm not gonna push that on anybody. But I feel like maybe somewhere along the line somebody will get it and follow suit and be like me and take initiative. You know what I mean? It's just it's a give take relationship, I guess.
Well, you're setting a very good example and a bar that is very high, you know, and for others to follow. And it's awesome to see that you're doing that at a later stage in your life because you know nowadays you have 19-year-old and 20-year-old, you know, going into pro wrestling schools and things like that, and usually a lot of the times getting their stuff funded for by either their parents or someone else, and it's awesome to see that you're a true workhorse and putting in it is you paying your dues, everything that you're doing every day, and you know and still going home to your family and having your family support you. That's awesome, man. And it's awesome everything that you're doing.
Man, it's pretty hard. I ain't gonna lie. There's a lot of days where you want to quit and you want to kind of like just say, you know, maybe it's not for me. I know I'm good. I'm not saying I'm the best, but I do know I'm good. I do know I have an ability to tell a story and play on your emotions and play on those heartstrings. I feel like I have a look. I feel like I'm not your typical big man. But it's hard, man. You watch wrestling, let me put this out there now. Like, becoming a wrestler has ruined being a fan.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I can't watch wrestling anymore with excitement because I'm more critiquing now. Now I'm watching matches like, where are they messing up? Where did they, what should they have done there instead of doing that? Or I'm just like, my mind goes now whenever I watch wrestling. And then I'm also getting angry. Like, I get angry, because I'm watching dudes get opportunities, and then I'm like, why can't I get opportunities? Like, what am I doing wrong? And it's wrong to be like that. It's not like I'm wishing bad on anybody, but I'm still kind of like, damn, man, like, what am I doing wrong? Is it because I went to the wrong school? Is it because I don't know the right people? Like, what am I doing wrong? I'm 4 years in. I'm really young when it comes to that. I'm green still. There's a lot that I need to learn. But match by match, I get better and better. I don't see somebody that can't go toe-to-toe with some of the best that are out there right now. I just, it's hard. Listen, it's hard. I don't have, like you said, a lot of these guys have their moms and dads that are helping them, or girlfriends that are making money that are helping them, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have that ability. I'm the only one working right now. I don't have that ability. My kids all have insurance and stuff like that. I don't have that ability to take care of myself. So I'm wrestling as much as I can, taking the bumps and bruises and just walking through it. You know what I mean? Man, you don't know how bad I need a chiropractor. You don't know how bad I need to go see somebody to check my back out, my neck. I wake up every day with pain, and I shake it off. I shake it off. I drink my cup of coffee. I shake it off and pop an Advil, and I'm out the door. But it's hard, dude. I can't tell you. It's
yeah.
You feel sometimes that you're kind of like on that hamster wheel, and you're never going to get anywhere. It's going to be the same place over and over and over.
Well, what are some things that you do to decompress and try and recover and rest and things like that?
It's hard, man. I don't really do. So my days are, Monday, say 3:30 in the morning. Get home by like 5, 6 o'clock, depending on where I'm going for my deliveries and my pickups. And that's Monday through Friday. And then Friday nights, I usually go to the building, set up the ring, the chairs, the ramp. And then Saturday, I'll have a match. And then Sunday, I have training if I can make it. I couldn't make it last Sunday because I had 2 back-to-back matches that day, the day before. But in the morning, I was just shot, man. I'm like, as much as I want to be there, I was just so exhausted from the week and stuff that I couldn't do it. So my life is very hard, dude. Like, I don't decompress. Like, I don't have the ability. I'm going to go get a beer with my friend, or, I'm going to, it's work, home, dad, wrestling,
yeah,
sleep, work, dad, home, wrestling. It's just like that every day,
rinse
man.
and repeat.
I look at my wife. I tell my wife, like, I yesterday, as a matter of fact, I think it was yesterday. I was just like, I'm tired. I'm trying very hard to keep pushing through. And right now, being a heavyweight champion, it helps. But I ain't gonna lie, it's still hard, man. It's very hard. A lot of people don't realize that. I think a lot of people think or see us as, he's fucking wrestling, he's having the time of his life, and it's not that at all.
It's not all the glitz and glamour, yeah.
They don't realize the back end of it all. That you have responsibilities at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Jeremy. It's fine.
I was going to say, look at DDP. He started his career real late, too.
Yeah.
But look at how much of a success he was later on. You know what I mean? And they put him through the ringer. There are a lot of people who told him, no, you can't make it in the industry. You're too old to make it in the industry. But, I look at you. I think you can make it. I think in the next couple of years, keep going. I truly believe you'll be on national television.
I do too.
I truly believe it.
As soon as I saw that Instagram, and that's not us trying to gas you up or anything. That is honest opinion of that.
I appreciate that.
You are a draw. You have that factor. I watched the match with you at Smiley. We're doing some intense things in that match. The rolls, the big slams, the falls, everything. And then we had never even heard of you before until we found you.
Right.
And I had never seen you on anything anything like that. And I watched the shows, and I watched the pay-per-view or some of the clips from the pay-per-view and things like that. And I didn't need to have watched you for the last 6 or 7 months. I already was able to see what you were doing in the ring and is able to tell the story without having to know who you were. And I already knew. So as a fan, when for me, I started to get a little bit of fanship when you knelt down and grabbed his mask. I was like, oh, he's doing it. He's going to become champion, and I was excited to watch you win. It was awesome. So just like Jeremy's saying, within these guys are going to pick you up soon, and whether it's here in Orlando or in Jacksonville, either one of them,
I don't care where, man. I just want to have a place in wrestling. I just want an opportunity. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But I feel like once I get that opportunity, and I hope to God it's with the E, because that's
where the money is.
That's that's the major leagues, man. It's the major leagues. If they don't have anything for me, guess what? I'm still getting paid to work out and be a part of something that I grew up loving with all my heart and soul. So
that's amazing.
I don't give a crap where I wrestle. You know what I mean? When I started wrestling, I was the Meadowlands Monster. I didn't have another name. I didn't transition to that. From day one, that was my name. I'm a Giants fan. I'm from Secaucus, the Meadowlands. We play in the Meadowlands. So that's where I got Meadowlands Monster from. And then Lance Archer changes his name to the, I don't even know, what does he call himself? The
Murder Hawk Monster.
The Murder Hawk Monster.
Yes.
And I'm like, are you serious right now? and then he started changing, he started changing his gear to red and black type of stuff. And I'm like, And you want to know who else is watching me? The kid from WWE, the Archer kid. What's his freaking name?
Damian Priest.
Damian Priest. When he started, he didn't have tassels on his pants. I got tassels on my pants, and then he started rocking tassels on his pants. And I'm like, you motherfuckers are watching me.
You're paying attention.
Luke Gallows. Luke Gallows, when he started at WWE, his boots didn't have buckles on them. And I'm not saying that I invented buckles on boots, but nobody had buckles on boots, and all of a sudden, Luke Gallows had buckles on his boots. They're watching. Instead of watching, bring me in, because I can do stuff for you guys.
They
know what I'm saying?
He can. He can do it. He needs to be here, man. Y'all need to sign him immediately.
Hello.
Bro,
now
the Attitude Era needs to come back.
It does, and
that needs to come back. That I don't give a fuck. That's what needs to happen. That's what's going to make things great again. That's what's going to make this
make wrestling great again.
It's Disney. It's Disney. Disney's this close to buying WWE, bro. And once they do that,
that's true.
Once Disney buys WWE, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, bro. You're a Disney employee. You're going to end up freaking going crazy after 5 years.
Yeah.
Or I'll just become indie circuit fans.
They have a partnership with Hulu and Fox and all that. That's Disney run. So
look up the Disney tree, and your mind will be blown. They own everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Disney owns everything. People don't realize that. Disney owns everything. They are going to be the ones that Vince finally sells to because they have the money.
Yeah, that's true. They got more money than they know what to do with. But who were...
They're talking about opening up the Hall of Fame in Universal.
Yeah.
Oh, God, really?
Yeah. Actual Hall of Fame.
Well, that's been needed for a while, but which superstars would you like to work with in the current talent? Who would you been interested in working with?
Kevin Owens, man.
Hell yeah.
I agree.
I really, really like Kevin Owens. I really, really end up liking a lot of the Canadian talent, no matter who it is. I mean, I really like what Kevin Owens does. I like that it's him. It's not a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? At least it doesn't seem like it. But I like how real he is. I like how hard-nosed he is. I like how he doesn't care. You know what I mean? I feel like he's trying to do what I'm trying to do and just beat the crap out of people, have fun, and enjoy. You know what I'm saying? But definitely KO. Man, Drew McIntyre. If I pick the big man, definitely Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
I think that even though Braun is like their big guy, Braun doesn't float my boat.
No.
It's very rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
What I don't want as a big man, you know what I'm saying? I want a big man that is like, God damn, this guy's big and he can move and he can hit you with submissions. He can hit you with he can knock you out, or you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that's what I look for. And McIntyre's that. McIntyre's that 100-fold.
He is.
Probably one of the most effective WWE champions in a while, in my opinion.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Well, I think Meadowlands Monster are going to be NXT champion within the next few years. That's what I'm going to say. I'm calling that one now.
It'd be nice.
Yes.
But I ain't gonna lie. I kind of have an affinity for that North American title.
Yeah,
that would be the one I wanted. That'd be my first baby.
That's a cool title. I liked it when they debuted it. I thought it was
love
a
the
cool.
old school look to it. That brown leather, you know what I mean? It just looks so nice, man. So
It
nice.
looks clean. Now, who are some of your influences? Growing up as a kid, who did you pay attention to the most?
Taker number 1,
Mm-hmm.
Diesel number 2, Kane number 3, and then Test. And then I basically just mashed them all together.
To make you.
That's where I get that I guess me. I get that attitude. I get that kind of dark, kind of not dark, kind of biker, kind of trucker, kind of like badass, kind of like fuck you, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I have all that. I have that. I can be fucking staring you down and just being quiet and scaring the shit out of people, or I can be that loud, like obnoxious guy that I'm gonna grab a beer bottle and break it over your head. So like, I'm just trying to be me, man. Like I said, I'm from the tough area, so like we don't care, man. Some of the fights that I've been in with my friends at bars and stuff like that, it's not fun. It's like we don't play fair.
Exactly. I mean, watching that, you bring up Kane. Kane too, but you bring up Undertaker and Diesel. That WrestleMania 12 match, for any big guy, that's a match to really watch.
Yeah.
Between two big men, and then because at that time, you brought up earlier on that beforehand it was like Andre the Giant, things like that, and those guys only had a limited moveset. Taker and Diesel were kind of those guys that opened it up, to really hit those ropes and move at 150, miles per hour.
They were that evolution. They were that switch.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Andre is, as a big man, Andre is the god of all big men.
Sure.
A lot of people don't realize Andre was moving like he was in karate films. If you look up Andre's work when he was in France and he was doing all that stuff, like, he was doing some crazy stuff at his size.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't do all that when the time he was with, WWF.
Yeah.
But Andre was on another level, man. See, that's another reason, like,
yeah.
This title right here, it's not just a title to me. A lot of people don't realize what this belt is. This is the Andre 87. I'm a belt mark. Yes, I am. This belt was created for Andre the Giant. I am grateful that Magic has been using this artwork as their heavyweight title. So that's why when I won it, I went full bore and completely customized it to represent what Andre the Giant meant to me as a big man.
Yes.
This belt is going to be defended with pride. This belt, you're going to have to kill me for this. So that's another reason why I take so much pride in this, is because this belt was created for a big man. And guess what? It's on the shoulder of one of the best big men in the Indies right now.
There it is.
There you go.
You heard it there.
There you go. For anybody in the Jersey area, you have been put on warning.
You better watch
I'm tired
out.
of being quiet. I'm tired of being quiet.
You just gotta get, man. That's what you gotta get out there, man. And that's another one thing that we've talked about before with other wrestlers is kind of building a brand and things like that. What kind of things are you doing, to build yourself as a brand to get yourself out there?
Oh man, like I told you, I try to do as much as I can. I'm not gonna lie, I could use some help with branding and stuff like that. I just try to be me. I try to put out my stuff as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
I try to put myself out there as much as I can. I have some really cool shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. You know what I mean? I just try to be me, man. I just try to be me.
Now, we always ask this question. A lot of times people that watch our channel, and because we always say that me and Jeremy were kind of closet wrestling fans. Not a lot of people knew that we were big wrestling fans. So when people started seeing that we were starting to do this, they were kind of taking a look, and I got things that, oh, why do you do that stuff? It's childish. Why are you talking to people? It's fake. Why do you do all that shit? So I started asking every indie wrestler, and Jeremy as well, that we've had on here, what do you say to people that say this is childish, this is fake? What are your opinions there?
You pay $26 to go see a fucking movie. That's okay. You could go watch a movie. You can go watch Avengers and cry in the fucking movie theater because fucking Thanos stuck his thumb up someone's ass. Like, don't give me that bullshit. It's entertainment, and it's what we like. And you know what? We outnumber every sport. For people to talk shit, WrestleMania's got more viewership than Super Bowl, than the NHL Stanley Cup, than the fucking Major League Baseball. We pack it in. If you got a problem with it, that's on you. But if you got a problem with that, then you should step back and see what you're doing. I see all these people, these Marvel fans and the DC fans, they always fight with each other. Or this guy wasn't in the movie, or this guy was done wrong. It's a movie. It's fake. It's not real. It's not real. Unless it's based on true stories. It was still based on true stories. So, what are we doing here? Like, you just want to put us down because we like wrestling? Wrestling's never going to go anywhere. It'll be here to the end of the world. Mm-hmm. It could be the end of the world and people will still be doing death matches somewhere when the ground's going to be coming through and lava and everything. They'll still be doing death matches. They're going to be doing true lava matches.
Well, when the whole world shut down, everyone else, somehow WWE did not, and AEW did not.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. It goes to show you.
Yeah, like NHL, NFL was even considering their seasons. They're like, should we even go on?
Yep.
Vince McMahon and Tony Khan had the right idea, though the shows were not live for a long while.
The show must went on, yeah.
But the show
Absolutely
has to go on somehow to keep the lights on and keep people entertained. So I like that answer. I think that was one of the best answers we've had.
Absolutely.
On this show so far.
Jeremy, do you have?
I told you, I'm a real dude. I tell it how it is. It may not be to someone's liking. It may not be to your liking or whatever. But hey, it's true. You got a problem with wrestling? That's on you. I got a problem with you crying at the end of fucking Avengers.
You have to use this realness in the ring, man. This is the real stuff right here, man. Jeremy, do you have any?
How I am.
Do you have one last question? Do you have one last question for him before we wrap up for him?
I really don't. I think he really answered. I think it's great. I just a comment again. I'm really looking forward to watching more of your matches coming up. You have a fan of me, of course.
Of course.
So we'll definitely be checking up the match next month for you on the Fight Network, Fight TV. It's an app that I have, so I'll definitely be watching. But
I wish I could get you guys like a free fucking viewing. You know what I mean? That's who I am. Like I look out the people who help me out and back me up.
Dude, it would be money well spent, to be honest. So
yes.
don't worry about that. I
appreciate it. I understand. Support indie. I get it.
Yeah,
No, I know. I'm just like that. You know what I mean? Like if you live by here, it'd be like, yo, come, I got you. Don't worry about it. Like, I got you. Don't worry about it.
Oh man, the humble, the Meadowlands Monster. Well, Bruno,
you gotta be. You know, you gotta be, bro. Like, the society we live in, like, if you're not humble, I don't know what to tell you, man. You gotta stay humble. You gotta remember where you come from. You can't forget where you come from. You gotta always keep that in your mind. You can't just, you know. A lot of people, money hits them and they change completely, man. I'm seeing it now with guys that I've been wrestling with for fucking 3 years. Some of the guys that have gotten signed that I've been in locker rooms with, they don't talk to nobody anymore. They're big time, you know? Not me. That's not who I am. It's not who I'm going to be. It's not who I am.
Well, Bruno, the floor is yours now to give us any plugs, any shout outs, and anything that you'd like to say about yourself going forward. Here on the Tagout Guys, our main mission is to promote the indies and give these guys their chance to tell their story and give their their rise to stardom and for us to help them any way that we can.
Well, what I'm going to say is stop fucking around and check out Pro Wrestling Magic. We're going to have a pay-per-view, the Roaring 20s 2, February 26th on Fight. Check it out. It's $10 fucking bucks. Stop bitching and just fucking watch it. It's good wrestling. It's a good roster. You know what I mean? We're going to be crowning our first women's champion. Well, not our first. Our new women's champion. The title's been vacated for a while. So you know the kingdom needs a queen. We got a fucking king, and I'm going to defend this fucking title till the wheels fall off, brother. Also, Instagram, YouTube. Just type in Meadowlands Monster. You're going to get me or Monster Trucks. I was lucky enough to pick the right name.
Don't pick the monster trucks, guys.
Yeah, or you could. I mean, I got no problem with that, but check me out first.
Well, it has been a great time sitting down with Bruno, the Meadowlands Monster, and Jeremy tonight. Some housekeeping for us. So tomorrow night, Jeremy and I will be back. What time does the show start tomorrow, Jeremy?
Let's see, what's that? 7 o'clock your time.
7 o'clock my time. So we'll be there 7 o'clock my time for a watch along. We'll do just like last time, watch the whole show and talk about it. Possibly beforehand, if I have time, I'm going to try and do my own version of Elimination Chamber. I might just fast forward to Elimination Chamber and do a little something, a little surprise. But and then...
and if I may...
Go ahead.
Send me that gamer tag so you get your ass bust in FIFA.
Oh yeah, we will. I haven't got the new one yet, not FIFA 21. I haven't played it yet, but I'm gonna get it next. Because I was waiting for the PS5, man, but it just doesn't. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, they made 5. They made 5 of them. You know what I mean, for the entire fucking world. So.
Well, guys, that is it for the night. This episode will be uploaded to Instagram and YouTube and everything else. And if you guys missed it and here on the channel, you can go back and watch this as well. My name's AJ East Coast, and I have been your host.
We're tagging out, crew.
All right.
Have a good one.
We'll see you guys next week.
Later, guys. Thank you for having me.